There are three stages in trading that have nothing to do with strategy, nothing to do with finding the right indicators or learning better entries. These three stages are about survival, about enduring psychological demolition, about becoming someone completely different from who you were when you started. Most traders never make it past stage one. They blow up, blame the market, and quit. The ones who survive stage one often die in stage two. And the rare few who reach stage three, they're unrecognizable. Not because they learned more, but because they became different people. I'm going to walk you through all three stages, not to scare you, but to prepare you. Because if you know what's coming, if you understand what each stage will demand from you, you have a chance. Without that knowledge, you're walking blind into a war you don't know you're fighting. So let's walk through your trading journey together with more awareness. Let's begin. Stage one, the slaughter of certainty. This is where it begins. And this is where most traders die. You enter trading with confidence. Maybe you're smart. Maybe you've succeeded in other areas of life. Maybe you've done your research, studied the charts, learned the patterns. You think you're ready. You're not. Stage one exists to destroy that confidence, to shatter every assumption you have about yourself, about markets, about making money. It doesn't do this through one catastrophic loss. It does it through 1,000 small cuts. You take a trade based on perfect analysis. It fails. You adjust your approach, study more, refine your strategy. The next trade fails too. You start questioning everything. Maybe it's your risk management. Maybe it's your entries. Maybe it's the time frame. So you change things. You add indicators. You switch strategies. You follow someone else's signals. And you keep losing. Not every trade, which would almost be easier to accept. You lose just enough to stay hopeful, and just often enough to stay broke. In this first stage, the market does everything it can to break you and convince you to turn away from your path. It tries to prove to you that what you believed you could achieve is practically impossible. It aims to break you by weakening your psychology more each day. Here's what's actually happening in stage one. The market is teaching you the first brutal truth. You know nothing. All that analysis you did? Meaningless. All that confidence you had? Unfounded. All those patterns you thought you saw? Your brain creating order from chaos. This lesson is not intellectual. You can't learn it by reading about it or watching videos. You have to feel it. You have to experience the humiliation of being wrong over and over despite your best efforts. You have to watch your account shrink while you scramble to figure out what you're missing. And the hardest part? There's nothing specific you're missing. The problem isn't a missing piece of knowledge. The problem is your entire framework. You came into trading believing that if you're smart enough, if you work hard enough, if you analyze carefully enough, you'll be right. But markets don't work that way. Being right doesn't matter. Being smart doesn't protect you. Certainty is a delusion. And until you accept that, truly accept it in your bones, you cannot move forward. You can do everything right and still lose. Everyone who trades at a mastery level knows this. To get through the first stage correctly, we must accept this. We can do everything right and still get stopped out 5 times in a row. This is a probability game, and probabilities can sometimes work against you to a degree that seems impossible. This is normal. When you hit your take profit 5 times in a row, you don't find it strange. You don't think something exceptional happened. But when you get stopped out several times in a row despite doing everything right, it feels like the end of the world. Yet both are exceptional situations, and being exceptional doesn't change the fact that it can happen to you. The reality is actually very clear. I spent 8 months in stage one, 8 months of thinking I was almost there, 8 months of one more thing, one more adjustment, one more piece of the puzzle. I studied volume profiles, order flow, institutional positioning, market internals. I had spreadsheets tracking correlations. I had algorithms scanning for patterns. And I kept losing. Not catastrophically, which kept me going, just consistently enough to bleed my account dry. The day I moved past stage one wasn't the day I found a better strategy. It was the day I sat in front of my screen after another loss and said out loud, "I have no idea what I'm doing." That admission, that complete surrender of ego, was the beginning. Because only when you accept that you know nothing can you start learning what actually matters. Most traders never make that admission. They keep believing they're one indicator away, one course away, one mentor away from figuring it out. They die in stage one still convinced they almost had it. The traders who survive stage 1 are the ones who can say I was completely wrong about everything and mean it. Stop claiming you found the perfect strategy, the perfect risk management. Stop even looking for it. Every strategy is destined to lose. Every strategy, no matter how correctly applied, will definitely stop you out. Internalizing these truths and being prepared will keep us mentally standing during the consecutive stops we'll take. And this way, we can maintain the discipline to be present during the consecutive take profits. Stage 2. The discipline of waiting. If you survive stage 1, if you truly accept that certainty is an illusion and being smart doesn't guarantee success, you enter stage 2. And this is where a different kind of torture begins. In stage 1, you were actively losing because you kept doing things wrong. In stage 2, you're losing because you can't stop doing things. You've learned that you can't predict the market. You've accepted that most setups don't work. You've understood that being right is less important than being disciplined. So you build a system, you define your edge, you create rules, and then you sit down to trade and realize the most painful truth of stage 2. Your edge appears maybe twice a week. The rest of the time, there's nothing to do. Nothing. You watch the market move. You see patterns that kind of look like your setup. You see other traders making money on moves you're not taking, and every part of your brain screams at you to do something, to take action, to be productive, to not waste the hours you're spending in front of the screen. And here, most traders fall into this trap and take action when they should be waiting. Even if the strategy works perfectly, they change it because it only offers 2 trades per week. They update it, and they try to find a different path. Yet they've already found the path. But the idea of taking only 2 positions per week is unbearable to them. This idea seems very inefficient on paper, because they think more trades mean more profit opportunities. Yet the fundamental thing that provides more profit isn't trade frequency, it's capital. And it's how much you can risk per trade. It's your discipline and how correctly you can execute these trades. These things never even cross their minds. 2 trades per week is too few, so they change their strategies. They can't convince themselves of discipline and taking 2 trades. They want to work every day and chase the market. But when they get into this situation, they burn out. And their ability to operate any system with discipline weakens. So they constantly break their rules. Because they've exposed themselves to so many charts that they're now poisoned. They can't think or act rationally. Let's get to the fundamental reason they look down on 2 trades. Actually, the fundamental reason for this is that they're dependent on the markets. Emotionally dependent on the markets. To feel complete, satisfied, and productive. So they can never truly convince themselves of 2 trades per week deep down. On the other hand, there's another reason for this. The action addiction. And it's more powerful than any drug. Because in every other area of life, doing more equals achieving more. More hours at work, more output, more practice, more skill, more effort, more results. But in trading, more action equals less money. Because trading consumes our mental energy excessively. Taking trades outside your system, even if they work occasionally, destroys your edge over time. You know this intellectually. But sitting there doing nothing while the market moves feels like failure. It feels like you're being lazy, like you're missing opportunities, like you're not really trading, so you take a marginal setup. Just this once. It's close enough to your rules, you tell yourself. And maybe it works, which makes it worse. Because now your brain has evidence that breaking rules can be profitable. So you do it again, and again. And within weeks, you're back to trading randomly, justifying every deviation with post hoc reasoning. This is a vicious cycle, and it doesn't lead anywhere positive. You shouldn't be dependent on the markets to feel successful, to feel productive, because if you're dependent, it becomes inevitable that they'll take the money from your pocket. Traders who somehow take the right trade at the right time aren't dependent on the markets at all. They just watch. They keep watching until the trade screams at them to take it. Everything is very clear. It's a trade with no reason not to take it. It meets all their criteria. It's an A+. And they take the trade at the point where they think, if I don't take this one, what trade will I take? So in summary, there's no dependency. They feel complete without the markets. They feel successful. They feel productive. I spent a year in stage 2, a full year of knowing exactly what I should do and being unable to do it. I had a system that worked. I had back-tested it. I had rules. But I couldn't sit still. On days when my setup didn't appear, I'd find reasons to take other trades. Just small positions, I'd tell myself. Just to stay active, just to not waste the day. Every single one of those trades made my results worse. Not because they all lost, but because they introduced randomness. They broke my statistical edge. They turned a profitable system into break-even noise. They wore down my psychology and reduced my probability of making correct decisions in subsequent trades. The day I moved past stage 2 was the day I sat through an entire trading session, saw 5 potential setups that didn't quite meet my criteria, and took 0 trades. I closed my platform at the end of the day with nothing done and felt proud instead of guilty. That shift from feeling lazy about inaction to feeling disciplined about inaction was everything. This was a harbinger of real change, and so it was. In the following days, I didn't feel strange about not taking trades. There would be days when I'd watch charts for hours but close without doing anything, and I'd feel adequate, successful, and productive. I had changed. I was on the right path. Here's what stage 2 is actually teaching you. Patience isn't passive. Waiting isn't wasting time. Doing nothing is often the highest conviction trade you can make. You must be truly convinced that all of this is really so, and you should spend time internalizing these things. The market will always offer another opportunity. Your capital and focus are finite. Preserve them for the moments that matter. Most traders who survive stage 1 still die in stage 2. Not because they can't identify good setups, but because they can't stop taking bad ones. They know what they should do. They just can't sit still long enough to do only that. The traders who survive stage 2 are the ones who've killed their need for constant action, who can watch the market for hours and leave with nothing and feel successful, who've internalized that trading isn't about being busy, it's about being selective. These are the candidates for reaching elite trader level. The number of people who can do what they do is truly very small. Now we have the third stage. We've come to the final stage. Stage 3, becoming the market. If you survive stage 1 and stage 2, if you've killed your certainty and killed your need for action, you enter the final stage. And this stage is the strangest of all, because in stage 3, you don't learn anything new. You don't develop better strategies or find hidden edges. Instead, something almost mystical happens. You stop fighting the market and start flowing with it. This sounds like nonsense until you experience it. But after thousands of hours, after hundreds of trades, after surviving the humiliation of stage 1 and the boredom of stage 2, your brain starts recognizing patterns at a level deeper than conscious thought. You look at a chart and you know. Not because you've analyzed it, not because you've checked your indicators. You just know. This isn't intuition in the mystical sense. It's pattern recognition that's moved from conscious processing to subconscious automation. The same way a master pianist doesn't think about which fingers to move, a stage 3 trader doesn't think about whether to take a trade. They see their setup and they execute. No deliberation, no second guessing, no fear. Just recognition and response. There's no such thing as going outside the system anymore. The trader has become the system itself. They see their strategy and execute. Everything is very clear. There's no room left for question marks. The stress of will I break discipline today is over. Now they've become a different person and left those levels behind. But here's the cost of reaching stage 3. And it's a cost most people don't expect. Trading becomes boring. Deeply, profoundly boring. The excitement is gone. The adrenaline is gone. The emotional highs and lows are gone. You see your setup, you take it, you manage it, you exit. Routine. Mechanical. Emotionless. And for most people, that boredom is unbearable. They've spent months or years fighting to reach consistency. And when they finally get there, it feels empty. They miss the chaos. They miss the drama. They miss feeling something. So they sabotage themselves. They start taking trades outside their system again. Not because they don't know better, but because boring feels wrong. They start pressing buttons to feel emotions. They'd rather have excitement and lose than have boredom and win. This is the final test. Can you accept that profitable trading looks nothing like what you imagined? That it's not thrilling or validating or exciting? That it's repetitive execution of the same simple edge over and over? Most traders who reach stage 3 still fail here. Not because they can't trade profitably, but because they can't tolerate how boring profitable trading actually is. For a very small minority, trading can still be enjoyable. But most who reach this stage feel nothing. They do their job and close the screen. That's all. But they don't care how they feel. After all, they've become able to make money they couldn't even dream of once. Success has become ordinary and routine. This creates a satisfaction deep within. You might not experience an instant emotional burst, but a deeper sense of satisfaction takes its place. I've been in stage 3 for 2 years now. And I'll be honest, some days I miss the chaos. I miss the intensity of stage 1 when every trade felt like life or death. I miss the challenge of stage 2 when resisting bad trades felt like an accomplishment. Now trading is just part of my routine. I see my setup maybe twice a week. I take it. It works or it doesn't. My account grows slowly, steadily, boringly. No dramatic wins, no devastating losses, just compound growth over time. And that boredom is exactly what I fought years to achieve. Because boring is profitable, exciting is expensive. The traders who make real money, who last for decades, who build wealth through trading, they're all bored. They've accepted that trading isn't entertainment, it's a business. And businesses succeed through boring, consistent execution of proven processes. Here's how you know which stage you're in. If you're constantly changing strategies, convinced the next approach will be the one that works, you're in stage 1. Your certainty hasn't been killed yet. If you know what you should do but can't stop taking trades outside your system, you're in stage 2. Your need for action hasn't been killed yet. If trading feels routine and boring and you're tempted to spice it up with larger positions or different setups, you're in stage 3. Your need for excitement hasn't been killed yet. Each stage has its own death. Stage 1 kills certainty. Stage 2 kills impatience. Stage 3 kills ego. And you can't skip stages. You can't rush through them. You have to endure each one fully. You have to let each stage break what it needs to break inside you. Only then can you move forward. Most trading education focuses on knowledge. Learn these patterns, use these indicators, follow these rules. And none of that addresses what actually stops traders from succeeding. What stops traders isn't lack of knowledge. It's inability to survive the psychological demolition required to use that knowledge. You can know the perfect strategy and still fail in stage 1 because your ego can't handle being wrong. You can have impeccable analysis and still fail in stage 2 because your brain can't handle inaction. You can have years of experience and still fail in stage 3 because you can't accept that success is boring. The stages aren't about what you learn, they're about what you become. And becoming a profitable trader requires killing parts of yourself you thought were essential. If you're in stage 1 right now, losing consistently despite your best efforts, understand this: you're not failing. You're being educated. The market is teaching you humility. Let it. Stop fighting the lesson. Stop thinking you're one tweak away from success. Accept that you know nothing and start rebuilding from that truth. If you're in stage 2, knowing what to do but unable to execute consistently, understand this: you're not undisciplined, you're addicted to action. And the only cure is sitting through the discomfort of doing nothing until doing nothing feels normal. If you're in stage 3, profitable but bored and tempted to complicate things, understand this: the boredom is the point. It's proof that you've mastered the game. Don't sabotage it by seeking excitement. Embrace the routine. Let boring make you wealthy. The 3 stages are not a curriculum, they're a crucible. They burn away everything that doesn't work: your false confidence, your need for constant action, your addiction to excitement. What's left after all 3 stages is a trader. Not someone who knows more, someone who is fundamentally different, someone who can look at uncertainty without fear, someone who can sit in stillness without anxiety, someone who can execute the same boring process over and over without needing it to feel significant. That transformation is what separates the 5% who make money from the 95% who don't. Not intelligence, not education, not even hard work. Survival. The ability to endure what each stage demands and come out the other side changed. Most people quit. Most people should quit. This path isn't for everyone. But if you're still here, if you're reading this and recognizing yourself in these stages, you have a chance. Not because you're special, but because you're willing. Willing to have your certainty destroyed. Willing to sit in uncomfortable stillness. Willing to accept that success looks nothing like you imagined. That willingness is rare. And it's the only thing that matters.